I love gaming as much as the next person. It's a fun hobby that I like to do, and not a lot of people like to do it, but I do love gaming, and gaming is something that I have a passion for, and same with bowling. But there was like a lot of complaints that can be said about bowling that can be said about gaming. Expensive, and just like the current state of it, like how it's not as good. It's always playing it too safe. It's always the same thing over and over again. Assassin's Creed. But there was another thing that I do hate about it, and this personally affects me. Like this is like the number one thing stutter. This is the number one issue I have about gaming as a whole, and this personally affects me. And it's that games have gotten way too big. Games nowadays, modern games, as of saying, AA games, have just really just don't believe in compression. Now I'm not talking about like oh my god, the map is so huge, it's crazy. I can, quit life, and if I walk in this map for days, I'll never get bored. It'll always be different. Um, no, I'm not talking about like map size or like how much like mechanics are in the game. It's storage. So storage in games is crazy. Most games that comes out is like around 100 gigabytes or 50 gigabytes, and it's just way too big. For example, a big outlier for this is Call of Duty. Now, Call of Duty is obviously the same thing recycled over and over again, same shooter, same everything. Only difference is that it's the campaign is different, but it's always the same thing. You always get thrown into a map. You have guns and you shoot each other, and like whatever game that you pick, whoever team has the most points or whatever, they win. That's Call of Duty. I never played it. I never personally played Call of Duty. Like, I'm not a Call of Duty evangelist. I never played it, so I don't know. But I know it has gotten the point where the storage and like how much space it takes up is crazy. For example, the new Call of Duty game that came out, it's around like freaking 210 gigabytes. Oh, out up there reaching like 250 gigabytes. That's crazy. Not a lot of consoles can get that. So take for example the Xbox Series X. That thing is 1 terabyte, including all the other things that comes with it. So maybe round it back down to like 800 gigabytes. If you were to download the newest Call of Duty on that, I'm pretty sure you can get at least two games on there that are the exact same thing without losing space, which is crazy. You can't, if they can have only like four games on there, like if you want to get like Call of Duty, Red Dead Redemption, Mortal Kombat 1, you can't get it on like one SSD card or something like that because it's just way too dang big. It's enormously big. It's crazy. And even bad games. Take for example Golem. That thing was an absolute trasher. That thing was so huge That thing was so trash that the entire studio of that game shut down because of how embarrassing that was. Now, off topic, Golem Studio wasn't really um, meant for open world games like that. They're more like card games. So obviously, when they first made the open world stealth RPG game, Golem, it sucked because that was the first ever game, and guess what? The reputation went down the crapper. So there they go. But back on track. Take for example Golem. That thing looks like it should be at least 20 gigabytes at most. The graphics, the way it looks, the gameplay, and the cutscenes and all that, and even how long it is. That looks like it was supposed to be 20 gigabytes. No, that's not the case. That game is around freaking 50 gigabytes, or at least 60 gigabytes. For that crap of a game, though, that's how much storage it will take up. 60 gigabytes of space. Right now, I play on an Xbox. It's a very old, it's a very old like Xbox X, like not Xbox X, Xbox One, like back in 2014, like the freaking first ever Xbox One, and that thing only has like 365 gigabytes on it. If I was to install Call of Duty on it and Golem, I couldn't fit any other games on there. It would just take up too much space because of how big it is, and the newest Call of Duty, that thing's probably freaking boring, and Golem is just trash can. So, and that just takes up so much space, so I can't even play it. It's crazy. And obviously, I think that when like GTA 6 comes out, which will inevitably come out, that thing is gonna be 300 gigabytes. I don't think any person will have that much space on the SSD card without getting an external hard drive in order to like put games on it. But it's honestly crazy. I always my biggest problem with modern gaming right now is how much storage it has taken up. It's crazy. But there were some exceptions. I guess Red Dead Redemption 2 is a pretty good exception. The amount of like animations and the amount of the graphics, cutscenes, how long it is, the characters and all that. Like, I can see how that's like 123 gigabytes. I can see that. If it was more, maybe like 150 gigabytes, that would also be pretty good. But I can see like why a game like Red Dead Redemption 2 is that much gigabytes, and I think it's good at that much gigabytes. It shouldn't be any more than that. But when you have a game like freaking Golem that looks like a freaking PS2 game and the graphics looks like potato graphics and it's 50 gigabytes, that's not good. That's not good. Or even take Call of Duty, the newest one. Oh, it is just shooty shooty bang bang and shooty shooty bang bang people online. And the only good thing, I'm pretty sure the only reason why it has so much so much storage taken up on it is because of probably the graphics and probably cosmetics and probably how the story is or whatever, and that's pretty much it. It's just a shooting game. Like it's crazy. It's crazy. And then take like, for example, take like past gaming years or whatever, like Doom and I don't know, like No Man's Sky. Well, No Man's Sky is like a whole, you know, universe that you can explore, running down at least like I don't know 12 gigabytes at the most, or something like Doom. Well, look at all those that you can do in it at so little space. Like it is possible to make a good game without taking up someone's internal hard drive. Without it's possible. Like next thing you know, modern gaming will run up to like a 1 terabyte at most, and you won't even play. You won't be able to play it. Like next thing you know, the next Fortnite update will be like a 100 gigabyte update. Introducing cool things like Breaking Bad and Marvel and DC and all that, and taking up 100 gigabytes. Like nobody wants that. Nobody will have room for it. It's way too big. It's not good. And I'm just scared for modern gaming because they just don't believe in compression. They just don't. They want to make it as big as possible. And this is where like the term quality over quantity comes in, you can say. Because I can tell, I can tell you, I'm not a game developer. I'm not someone who works at Ubisoft, all that. But I think as a person who loves playing games, I think it is possible to make a good game under 30 gigabytes, or at least under 40 gigabytes at most. A good example is 12 Minutes. 12 Minutes is a indie game with an amazing story and amazing gameplay, and that thing is like under 4 gigabytes, and that's crazy. There are so many. There are so many reasons to make a game that is under at least 40 gigabytes and make it at least good. It's good. It's good. Um, but other than Red Dead Redemption 2, if you're making games like freaking 200 gigabytes, 300 gigabytes, or even the big boy 500 gigabytes, it's just nobody's gonna have time for it, and that can be a main reason why someone probably won't buy your game if you make it that much, because one, they don't have room, two, it's probably $100 at most, and three, they're probably just not interested in it. And it's crazy. It's sad, and that's also like another reason why indie games and AA games are succeeding way more than AA games. It's sad, but I don't know why modern gaming developers or whatever, specifically the AA studios, don't believe in compression. But that's just the world we live in. And if you do want to play Call of Duty, you want to play Jedi Survival, you want to play Mortal Kombat 1, you want to play Golem and do all that, buy an external hard drive, because there's no way you can fit those 4 games onto one tiny little SSD card. SSD. I bet not SSD, can't think of a phone. It's sad. It's crazy. That's why a lot of people just play old games. They just buy AA games or even indie games because it's cheap, it's good. The developers actually have passion in it, and it doesn't take up that much space. Sad. It's crazy, and that's just modern gaming to you. Wow. Wow. I don't know. Thanks for watching.